Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dan Huff, Director of Public Programs and Community Engagement at the Studio Museum in Harlem, and we are thrilled to be collaborating with MoMA for today's workshop. Slow motion, slow build, slow read is an invitation, a meditation, and an offering to slow down and focus on the deeply rich, layered, and nuanced parts that comprise Project's Kahlil Robert Irving. On average, a visitor looks at a work of art for between 15 and 30 seconds. Today's workshop is an opportunity to focus on one work of art 3 ways over the course of 1.5 hours. Part 1, slow motion, will be a 15-minute period to look at Kahlil's black and yellow caution as a whole and in quadrants. Part 2, slow build, will offer a space to create collages inspired by the deep study of black and yellow caution for 25 minutes. And Part 3, slow read, will explore collaging methods via poetic devices for another 25 minutes. This program provides a sampling of approaches to look, engage, and connect with Kahlil's practice. We recognize that for a program encouraging you to slow down, we are covering a lot. Each part could have been its own workshop, so please allow whatever resonates with you be what you lean into. Post-program, we'll be adding a DIY guide of the 3 sections, as well as a program recording to the event page, so you can refer back to what was shared today. And now I'd like to pass things off to Hannah Fagan of MoMA for some housekeeping.
Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Hannah Fagan and I work on the public programs team at MoMA. And wow, it's incredible to see there's 238 of you right now gathered from all over the world to be in conversation and make art with one another. And it's a deep privilege to be in collaboration with the Studio Museum in Harlem. I'm pleased to share some notes on today's program that we hope will make this experience as accessible as possible. Live captioning is available by clicking on the CC Live Transcript button and selecting Show Subtitles. Thanks to Antonio and Flo, American Sign Language interpretation is available for tonight's program. We recommend you pin the interpreter on your screen to ensure you can access ASL interpretation during the program if you need it. We are recording this program. If you prefer not to be recorded, feel free to turn off your video, but if you're comfortable, we would really love to be able to see you and foster a collective spirit in the program, but you do what's best for you. And lastly, we invite you to use the chat to share thoughts, questions, and request technical assistance. We will read select comments out loud throughout the program, and as you do share, a gentle reminder to please make sure you leave and create space for others to do the same. We ask you to be mindful of the privileges you may hold as we work together to create an environment where everyone feels welcome. And fair warning, we will absolutely not tolerate any behavior or speech that abuses others. And now we can cut the slides so we can see one another, and I'll pass it back to Dayon, who'll share the bios of our incredible facilitators of tonight's program.
Thank you, Hannah. CJ Mitchell is the Community Access Manager in the Learning and Engagement Department at the Contemporary Art Museum in St. Louis. Mitchell has over 16 years of experience working as a public school teacher in the fields of special education and art in major urban cities such as London, New York City, Chicago, and St. Louis. She holds a master's degree in art therapy. Adjua Gargi Nzinga Greaves writes ethnobotanical literary criticism and collages detritus in heraldic devices. Her work has been published, anthologized, exhibited, and reviewed by the Brooklyn Rail, Ugly Duckling Press, Artist Space, Hyperallergic, and 4 Columns, amongst other places. Greaves is currently based in Providence, Rhode Island, where she is young mother of the Floral Review and a candidate for the MFA in Poetry from the Literary Arts program at Brown University. CJ and Adjua, take it away.
CJ?
Okay. Well, I'm just happy to be here today to be able to share this experience with a wonderful poet such as Adjua, who I really gained a great appreciation for in her process and in her work in these last couple of weeks that we've been getting together to formulate this and make it right and enjoyable for everyone. So.
Thank you, CJ. That's so kind. I feel the same. I've been bragging about you all over town about what I've learned about how to be clear and how to kind of be grounded in guidance through these mediated mediums. Really happy for what we've built here.
Cool. Well, I just hope that today's experience, that everyone gains something from it. Just the power of creating and making is a wonderful thing.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I guess my interest with Kahlil's work started when he was at the Contemporary Art Museum for our Great Rivers Biennial. And I create lessons based off of artwork. And so I really found that his medium in which he uses with the wallpaper, I guess, is accessible to everyone, and everyone can, well, not accessible to everyone, but it is something that we all have some knowledge of or have some type of interaction with. And so it's relatable in that way.
Right.
And he also calls St. Louis his home right now. So, and that's also my home too.
We love that. We love a neighbor. We love a neighbor. You know, there's a kind of casual effusiveness that I feel whenever I think about Kahlil's work and Kahlil's spirit, but I decided to hone that in just to give a little bit of a formal introduction to what I feel artist to artist and kind of thinker to thinker about Kahlil. And so I'll say my introduction to Kahlil's work was the most welcome surprise. I so directly and immediately felt a kinship in the holistic confidence in collage's literal and metaphorical ability to navigate existential curiosities, preoccupations, celebrations, and perhaps most important of all, collage's ability to document and analyze chaos on its own terms.
All right. This is an image of the view of projects by Kahlil Robert Irving at MoMA currently. So you get an idea of the space that we're looking at and the work that he has created. And we are going to specifically look at this podium, which has a ceramic sculpture in front and has the collage right in front of us on the podium to the right. Let's see. I was gonna say, we find black and yellow caution on the side of the pedestal, which I was trying to explain, I'm sorry. Now you're taking in the whole work at this point. And so now we are going to have you think of one word you would use to describe black and yellow caution, and you can add your thoughts in the chat.
Perfect. Thank you for the slide change.
Somebody said bumblebee, awake, glory, punch. They're coming in fast. Jar, vintage, yield waiting, contrast, urban, slow down, city life, grabs attention, hesitation, time capsules, light. Okay.
Love that. Love that.
All right, so what we are about to do next is take a closer look. So we like for you to take a collective inventory of this artwork. So we are going to look at them in quadrants or areas so that we can take a slow look and really examine the work in the different, as we break it down into the 4 quadrants.
Next slide. So if you were looking carefully at the top of the larger image, you might notice that we are now zoomed in to the top left quadrant of Black and Yellow. We'd love to see in the chat what you're noticing. And I will say, CJ, always the first thing I notice here is the kind of binary color pairing of yellow and black. It seems very strong here. Maybe also like emphasized by the image of the figure in the corner, Negroes in Soviet America.
Yeah, when I look at this area, I'm drawn to the candles and like almost like the altar paying homage to the ancestors or to an ancestor that has gone ahead. That really catches my eye. We also notice that some people are saying they see the candles, they notice the sunshine, homage, music, devotion.
I read sepulchral. Yeah.
In the open mouth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Lots of heads actually in this section, right? Lots of heads. I don't think I've noticed that before. Lots of heads, lots of busts. Yeah.
Now that you bring that up, I didn't think about that before, but yes, I noticed that quite a bit. And then also this idea of handmade art and craft.
Right.
Performative art and craft. And then extended, I noticed at the very top on the right, like extended as far as you can go, extended bandwidths.
Mm-hmm.
111. Someone mentioned tension between the arms. Contradiction, like home but not welcomed.
Oh, interesting.
Mm.
Which arms? I'm curious about the arms. Oh, I see. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then delivered. Oh, I guess an order from Amazon that he's made.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. That's our cue to move to the next quadrant. Thank you.
All right. So this one, I'm going to ask you, what are you seeing when you look closely at this new segment? What are the new things that you notice? And if you could add them to the chat, that'd be great. The Lord of the Rings.
Crowd favorite. That's
the favorite. Yeah, I think we were trying to figure out who all the actors were.
Mm-hmm.
Missing Michael K. Williams.
Yes. Yes.
Morgan Freeman. Oh, Eyes Peering.
Wikipedia. Please.
Let's see. Repression. Emoji. Oh yeah, but in the Lord of the Rings. Eyes.
Right.
Icons. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's resonating. Yeah. Native Americans. Royalty.
Beautiful. Got great eyes in this audience. Yes.
Yeah.
And I noticed that somebody, at the end of our look of the last quadrant, somebody said, just noticing the crosswalk behind it all. So we're starting already to think about layering a kind of structural narrative also.
Right.
Physical narrative, yeah.
Because we find this crosswalk throughout. So
Mhm,
that's like the underlying narrative within,
mhm,
as we say, black and yellow.
mhm.
Um, but then I also thought about in the top right-hand corner, a person in bondage.
Yes.
But right next to that person in bondage is like a seal of the United States.
Mm,
So
here we are.
somebody said, I am screaming.
Mm,
There is an absence.
mm,
Slavery, third-party sellers,
mm.
fiction,
Yes. Wow.
colonialism, defiance.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm really moved by the calling out about fiction because it really is kind of, seems to be one note of fiction. Maybe that's just Lord of the Rings. Maybe everything. Yeah, it's fascinating. So we're in the third of 4 quadrants here. What are we seeing now? What are we learning about the piece? And how is the way you're looking changing? You're building a kind of relationship to looking that's not the same as it was in the first quadrant.
Mhm. History, home, graphic design, social media, commercialism.
Yeah, we've got concepts are emerging. I'm
Mhm.
feeling more and more concepts emerging.
Somebody just mentioned geometry. Makes you
Mm,
think about how things are positioned, and we think about squares and space.
love that. Yeah, yeah.
I love someone just said being and existing. Mm.
Mhm.
Hate. Mm.
Hope for a better tomorrow. Facebook, Instagram, small media and large media. Yeah, the scale is really varied, really varied. Angry, repetition.
Caution is present
Ooh,
in our daily lives. Mm.
absolutely.
There you walk out the door.
Wow, wow.
Faux inspiration. Hmm. Nothing is plain or simple.
And an introduction of another set of colors, right? We have the floral, pastoral, um, the red petals, we have a little red sliver, and we also have a different kind of pastoral, less stylized, more documentary, and maybe we're reconsidering the crosswalk. Maybe we're thinking about double yellow lines, we're thinking about the road, thinking about driving and
And also thinking about, like you said, pastoral, or thinking
Mhm.
about land or pastures,
Yes,
especially at the bottom.
beautiful. Next slide. This is our final close look here. So there's a kind of completeness about the tour that we've done, but certainly around and around, zooming in and zooming out over time, so many different things would be revealed.
Right. And also thinking about, like you said, the themes are the overall
Yeah,
messages that are being seen throughout the four quadrants. Um, you can add your thoughts in the chat. Urban, rural. Yeah. In particular, St. Louis. People sometimes who think of St. Louis as maybe being more rural because of the suburbs and et cetera, but it's also urban. So like that coming together, that dichotomy. And then several images repeated from the previous quadrants. Wheels, defund the police, I think, Ferguson, yeah. The article with Darren Wilson.
We have almost every color present as well, except for the purple, right?
Right.
This particular quadrant happens to have representation of almost everything.
Hello, money sale place. Police brutality, traffic caution, contemporary.
And maybe we're thinking about, is this just any road? Is this a road that we all know but don't know we know? What is this? You know, there's clearly such intentionality of these choices. What are we seeing and not seeing? What might we be overlooking about this particular road?
Right. Where does it lead? Where does the journey go? Someone mentioned journey.
That car, right?
Hold the prettiest thing. Unsettled price for cars on road. In art. QR goes to, Wiz Khalifa. Is his video. It might be the song that it leads to with that QR code. QR code.
Beautiful, thank you.
All right, so now we're transitioning. We're coming to the end of looking at our slow build. So now we're back to looking at the full imagery of Black and yellow caution. So again, we'll look at the work as a whole, and you can use this in inspiration in creating your own work of art. And think about placement. You can think about where you would like, what imagery you would like to be included, but just overall taking in the whole image of Black and yellow.
We really learned a lot in that tour about this work and what we might want to emulate.
Right.
Interesting question.
Choice to include the house in both the third and the fourth quadrants. Maybe because of how, just as we divided up the space, it kind of overlaps in both, because it falls right in the middle in the bottom two quadrants. So you get like the fourth and the third together. Someone says they feel like different parts have different themes. Is yellow a sub for white?
I saw that question, yeah.
It's a thought.
I remember somebody early on saying that there's a kind of pervasive caution. And I do kind of think about maybe a racial dichotomy, maybe between white supremacy and Black subjugation. And maybe there's a substitute for yellow in that way. It's like kind of not a replacement, but like a little fractal shift, thinking about other. Yeah.
Someone just wrote in the chat talking about like many traffic stops lead to specific tragedies or later.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can think, you know, if you've ever been pulled over, you just wonder what's about to happen next.
Yeah. I've been thinking, I'm about to start learning to drive. I'm a lifelong New Yorker, kind of taking that leap. And I'm thinking about the promise of American freedom to the West, blah, 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 but also my very real fear of the road as a site of existential precarity, shall we say.
Right.
Danger. And that is actually what I always come to when I'm thinking about Kahlil's choice of this seemingly innocuous, like, oh, it could be anywhere road. This snapshot at the midpoint that we were just talking about, like, that is both a very benign image of just a road, but it's also so many monstrous things happen on just those benign locations.
Yeah, not to make light of it, but somebody typed in yellow brick road.
Ooh, you gotta keep it light, or else you'll go spiral down. Thank you. You helped me. I was down in the depths. I needed that. Thank you.
Right. So yeah, there's so many things with Kahlil's work that come to mind, and you just take a moment and you look, and there's so many layers, so many views that come into your head. Ooh, some faces are avoid eye contact.
Oh, wow. Fascinating.
Okay, so at this point, we are about to start our slow build. So in preparation, we're going to create a collage with our materials, our social media, our images, our things from newspaper, things that we've read, but we're inspired by Kahlil Robert Irving's work. And just want to remind you to get your materials out. I'm gonna be sharing my camera. I'm gonna show a document camera so you can see how I'm working and what we're doing. But I am first gonna go over instructions so you know what steps that you will be taking as you do it. So you're gonna gather images from magazines, newspapers, print of your social media. You're gonna print and cut out the images. You're gonna arrange your images on your paper. So you have like a larger piece of paper to take these smaller images and make a collage with. Think about how you wanna lay it out. Think about aesthetics. There's no way to construct your collage. Content can be arranged any way you like, upside down, side by side, sideways. Some images can be repeated several times. When you're satisfied with how you have your arrangement, that's step number 4, you will you'll arrange it, and once you feel like you have it the way you want it, you can then think about now, I guess, positioning it exactly. And then you're gonna, after you have a position, then you will take glue and glue it down. Somebody asked about size of paper within, I saw that real quickly. It's up to you what size. I am using half of a poster board for mine, but it could be 9x12, 8x10. It's up to you and what you have. Let's see. And then also, if you are not joining us with actual paper collage, you could also do a digital collage. And so you're still going to do the same thing of first gathering your images from social media, websites that you frequent, and then you'll take screenshots of those images on your phone or on your computer. And then there is a website that's free that's called photocollage.com. It's just like a photo editing, and you can drag images into to create a collage within photocollage.com. And then on the website, I think there's more instructions on how you can upload them. It's pretty straightforward, but it's a lot of just dragging and they kind of work together. But if you have a digital platform that you like using to make collage, like a Google form or anything, or a Google app, you can use that. Whatever is convenient and easy for you to do is possible as well for digital print. So now I am going to share my screen.
I'll just make folks aware that while CJ is sharing the tabletop view, I'll be reading the chat. If there are any questions that you have for CJ directly, write them in the chat and I'll be able to convey them.
Okay, so I kind of picked a couple of different images that were going through like my Instagram feed. I kind of repeated a couple of them. Let's see, I kind of cut them down already. I even have print of African fabric or print out of paper. And then I even found things from magazines. So what I'm gonna do is move them to the side. And now I'm gonna start thinking about how I would like to arrange these images. So I'm kind of fond to that piece of African fabric. I recently in St. Louis, Mizzou got a new, well, in Missouri, Mizzou got a new coach, and we think about pay and me thinking about how teachers are paid. So that's from Instagram, things from the Wall Street Journal. I mean, from New York Times. And actually, I think I have two of that one, so I could use it twice. You can think about layering objects. You could think about juxtaposition. You can think about, do you have a theme with your social media? And maybe gathering things in a certain area together. So I'm just taking these things and I am laying them out to think about where I would like them positioned. And I'm sorry, I did not mention this. If you want to move ahead, you can. If you kind of got the lay of what you're doing, you do not have to follow along with me. And then I need to cut a few things because I want to continue using kind of like the idea of Kahlil's caution crosswalk, using that over again, which would be the African fabric. And then using imagery from a magazine with grapefruit. So as you're working, you might end up changing things around, thinking about using something else.
CJ, are you able to speak to your color palette? There's some questions about that.
I like orange. I like blues. So that may be speaking to my color palette. I used to have
Sure.
that look like this that I was fond of, or just also the African fabric. But I would say I am fond of oranges and blues. So that might be me speaking through my collage. And I love African print. So
Interesting question in the chat about usage, intellectual property, how Kahlil navigates the commercial availability of pieces in the critical work. It's an ongoing and perpetual collagist question about fair use commentary. I think there's more, as far as I can tell, there's more, to answer Carolyn B's question or Eve's question, I think there's more gray area than we think, and often the issue is the litigiousness of the source creator. Disney is a more risky use than, maybe the ACLU or something.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking about that as well. I also feel like sometimes if it's in social media, if maybe, does he get away with maybe only part is used? So also removal of certain sections, but I don't know. That is something to definitely think about. Let's see. So I hope everyone is doing all right as they build their collage. I think about repetition of images has like, I guess, an impact in seeing them side by side, upside down.
Question from Kate. Is there a theme you're currently working on? Is there what is emerging for you as your through lines here?
For me, there's a couple of things. I guess justice, equality, inequality. In particular, thinking about the judicial hearings for Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Mm.
Also current themes of like gas.
Yep.
So I wouldn't say I have a particular thing. These would be things that were kind of coming up for me. Picking out images or thinking about images.
I often find that when I'm making collage, I have intentions, and then there's kind of like a conscious thread of themes. There's a conscious layer of themes and then a subconscious layer of themes that I didn't realize I was bringing in. But the more I work with the piece, realize that there was, another layer of decision making happening alongside the intentional one. It's one of my favorite things about the practice. And that just takes time to see. That takes living with the work to see.
Right. Like maybe after this is done, I will notice some other things.
Right.
I hadn't noticed before.
Right. So we have about 4 minutes, about 4 to 5 minutes more of this building, and then we'll be shifting to sharing the work at our cameras. CJ and I are so excited to see this collage of collages, right?
Right.
Just a nod for a heads up for our tech support team that will need the participants to be able to share their video in a couple of minutes. And just a reminder, this will be true of the complexity that we're introducing you to, is present here in this prompt. It's also going to be present in the verbal prompt that will follow. And there will be links in the chat. There are already some that are also going to be available to you in your email for registering. And all of that is an invitation to take the little glimpses that you felt here, that you want to follow this evening, tomorrow, next month, next year, and return to those links and kind of explore at your own pace.
So I'm beginning to glue, and I may be
Great.
a little behind, just using the glue stick.
Yep.
Kind of know where most things are going to end up. What's forgiving about a glue stick is you can sometimes still peel it up a little bit if you didn't like placed it, which is a good thing.
I don't know if they're still making these, but I've seen in the stores something that, in the art supply stores, something that really gives you the adhesion of a Post-it note,
That's
really
not-
exciting. Really exciting, yeah.
So yeah, that's the nice thing, that I was just able to lift that up a little bit. I am working quickly.
Mhm.
I do understand, sometimes this can be a, process, like, or thinking more about where you want to place, but we just wanted to give you opportunity to build your collage together.
Love that. Jonathan has a question for the education team. I'm sure somebody's addressing that question right now, and I'll read this one. Do you think it is still somehow personal if you are not using your own images in the collage? I'd say 100% on that.
Yeah.
I just read a Toni Morrison essay, or a set of Toni Morrison essays that really were reiterating over and over again how the art that is made is a reflection of the maker. The dream, the subject of the dream is the dreamer. I think that's what she said.
That is, because putting together these images, who says someone else would actually put these together, or,
Mhm.
or to think about them in this context.
Right.
Together. So yeah, it is in itself, even though it's taken from media. Sorry, it's a little loud.
What was that?
I thought it was a little loud. Using the glue stick. I'm sorry. As I put stuff down.
So cool to watch you do this. Love that. Okay. Let's pause here. It's not the end of your work necessarily, but it's a pause point to share with the group. Hopefully you're able to turn on your cameras and hold up your collage. Share your finished collage.
Right.
Oh, excuse me, CJ, would you like to do that part?
So if you would, I guess, whatever you've created. So right now, I didn't finish all the way, but I can take what I have right here and maybe take a step back and really look at it in a different perspective than me just creating it just now. Because sometimes when you take a step away and examine the work, you'll see something different, or you'll notice something about the art that you have put together. So if we could just take a second and just step away, I'm just gonna roll back, because that's what I can do. I'm gonna roll back and look. and just examine what I have put together.
Love it.
I see, yeah, the color theme of like oranges and blues. I also see green.
Mm.
I have a little bit of green with some of the money and equity, justice, equality, equity, inequality, and justice. It's making me think about I guess treatment, how people are treated
Excellent.
in a way. You know, a little bit of like Black, I guess a little Black joy with Black girl magic.
Mm-hmm.
And then
There's a note here from Carolyn B, who says, CJ, I love the visual energy in yours between the grapefruit and the African fabric circles.
so that, yeah, it adds a little brightness to it.
If you're finished with your collage, if enough is glued down, we'd love it for you to share your finished collage by holding it up to the camera. I think I see some coming through. Yes, Deborah Erickson, beautiful. I see figures, I see scenes, I see an interaction between scale and the surreal. Marco Patino, oh, nice.
Oh,
Marco, did you draw into yours? Yes, beautiful.
I see Melody K's and dripping down.
Wow.
And like the
Elsa Mickelson. Wow, look at these. A lot of figures. It's really wonderful to see such a population. That's beautiful.
I think, Yasmin, did you use tissue? It looks like tissue paper a little bit, but it's just very colorful. I like the oranges and the blues and the yellows.
Neely McNulty, can you bring it up again? I just missed it. Oh, in a book. Beautiful. Yes. Love that. Thank you.
Oh, super. I was trying to read it. Super pumper. Love it.
Socorro, can you hold yours up? I want to see the figures at the bottom left a little bit more. Ooh. Yes.
Ooh, Charlie. Like Charlie's the house. And then it's a ladder connected to the house, like on top.
Miros Cortez. Am I seeing the locos? Awesome. Wow. This is so beautiful. We knew we'd love this part. Linda. Linda, that composition. It feels really complete. I heard somebody say, or saw somebody said earlier, one of the quadrants from Kahlil's work seemed like it could stand alone. And I have that kind of standalone sense from what you just, it felt like something had clicked in, Linda. Great. I love this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess we've added the slides to the slideshow, so we'll be able to see. Oh wow, cool.
Wait, I love this.
I like the one with the city and then.
Yeah. That skyline kind of blending out into nothing at the bottom and then off into clouds. Hong Kong. What's up, Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Wow. Loving that. Who shared that one?
I think
Digital collage by Shin.
Sinchan.
Thank you. About your city. Love that. Love that. Maybe I can cure some of my homesick for New Yorkness by making a New York City collage.
That would work. That would help.
It would. It's all helping.
Or just, because that connection. Make it
Yeah, it is. I almost wore a New York City baseball cap today. This is beautiful. This is really beautiful. I could spend, I would love to. Every moment here is its own workshop. We're going to start transitioning toward I think it's time to start transitioning towards the written prompt, maybe. Maybe there's a little pause built in though.
Yeah, I think ready to transition to slow read.
Excellent, excellent. So I'm going to just introduce this next section, and then we'll hear some audio. When we hear the audio, there'll be some more instructions, but if you haven't, this is a good time. You've been working hard, thinking, sitting in one place for an hour already. This is a good time to stand up in your chair, stretch while you're listening. We're not going to forget the body when we're focused on the hands and the eyes and the mind. It's all connected. We're going to stretch. So I will say that this next section is really my feeling of responsibility to you is to show how these visual works that we can perhaps very easily recognize as collage, how we might notice the similarities between the kind of art making and thinking and analyzing and chance that happens when we make collage with what might happen when we gather other fragments like language from other larger bodies of language. So I'm just really happy to have had this time meditating on the effects and creation of collage with you all. It's, as I said earlier, a way of relating to the world that I find myself drawn to in my visual art practice and my writing practice. One of my favorite examples of collage within the literary arts is the relationship between two poems written by Black poets in the 20th century America. We'll be seeing those works we'll be seeing and hearing those works now. May I have this slide? Hunter, may I have the poem slide? Thank you. So we'll be hearing the audio in just a moment. The audio will only be for the left side. And what I want you to do is to listen and look. I want you to listen, knowing that what you're hearing is a few cycles through of the poet Gwendolyn Brooks reading, performing her poem. So we will hear Gwendolyn's poem in just a moment. And I want you to explore the other side of this slide while you're listening. I want you to notice where Gwendolyn's language shows up in somebody else's poem, in Terrence Hayes' poem. And I'll talk a little bit more about that relationship and how Terrence innovated a new kind of relational tool. So, Hunter, could we have the audio? I'd like it 3 times in a row.
The pool players, 7 at the golden shovel. We real cool, we left school, we lurk late, we strike straight, we sing sin, we then gin, we jazz June, we die soon. The pool players, 7 at the golden shovel. We real cool, we left school, we lurk late, we strike straight, we sing sin, we then gin, we jazz June, we die soon.
We can pause here. I'll just mention that at the links later, you'll be able to see the fullness of which Terrence Hayes not only used the language, we real cool, we left school, we lurk late, we strike straight from Gwendolyn Brooks that you can see at the rightmost edge of his poem, but this Terrence Hayes poem called The Golden Shovel, it extends for many more lines using the entirety of Gwendolyn's short poem in really fascinating syntactical ways, in ways that you might expect to continue, and also in ways that I'm sure will surprise you. I'm enjoying imagining what you'll discover as you explore this on your own time. How's the audio for Gwendolyn? Could we hear it one more time?
The pool players, 7 at the golden shovel. We real cool, we left school, we lurk late, we strike straight, we sing sin, we then gin, we jazz June, we die soon.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Next slide. So here we are back at our familiar Kahlil Robert Irving piece. And just like we listened multiple times to Kahlil's work, to Gwendolyn's work rather, we have an opportunity to hear Kahlil discuss the conceptual and formal framing, art and art choices that he made, not only for the collage, but for the entire room, the entire context which it stands in. So this is a moment for you to find a text document that you can open, or a little scrap of paper, maybe a full sheet, because we'll be listening to Kahlil twice. First, making note of any language that particularly draws us out. Don't feel like you need to, please don't feel like you need to transcribe for yourself. The audio for the transcription rather of the audio we're about to hear will be in the chat. So if you're having questions about what word was that, you can read along. But I really want you to think about individual words that resonate for you. And we'll be hearing them twice. So you'll be making a list, kind of like a brainstorm. And that's for the first listen. On the second listen, we'll be thinking about 5 word fragments, language fragments to use in particular. Next slide, and we'll go back for a moment. Next slide. Great. So I want to give you a heads up that this is what it might look like, okay? When I listen to, this is what your poem might look like in the end. When I listen to this audio that you're about to hear, I'm particularly moved by language like mirroring, digital, incense, fossilized, and American. You'll hear how Kahlil says these things in context. And I'll then invite you to, just as I have in the white text you're seeing, I'll invite you to add your own connecting language between the language that you've selected. So that's a lot of language about language. Let's listen, and then we'll do our exercise. Let's backwards slide, previous slide, thank you. And here's the audio first. Let's have a pen in hand, keyboard at your fingertips. Anytime some language is for you, jot it down, and we're gonna hear it twice. We're gonna try to get to 5. Audio, please. Thank you, Hunter.
My name is Kahlil Robert Irving. You're standing in my installation of large-scale wallpaper imagery contextualizing ceramic sculptures. The works traverse the digital landscape, the metaphorical landscape, and contemporary issues affecting many different communities, but the specific experiences that I'm referring to in my work range from my time living in St. Louis, Missouri, and New York City. One of my earliest memories is with my mother in our old Cadillac car, driving and listening to the radio. And with my father, I remember on the weekends cleaning with the windows open, with incense burning and music playing through the radio. Those experiences of hearing having creates the architecture in my mind, how I construct these collages. They're mirroring the expansiveness of the internet.
Are we able to avoid that buzzing, or is it buzzing on anybody else's end?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's glitching a little bit. Hunter, if you want to try to restart it.
thank you so much.
My name is Kahlil Robert Irving. You're standing in my installation of large-scale wallpaper imagery contextualizing ceramic sculptures. The works traverse the digital landscape, the metaphorical landscape, and contemporary issues affecting many different communities, but the specific experiences that I'm referring to in my work range from my time living in St. Louis, Missouri, and New York City. One of my earliest memories is with my mother in our old Cadillac car, driving and listening to the radio. And with my father, I remember on the weekends cleaning with the windows open, with incense burning and music playing through the radio. Those experiences of hearing having creates the architecture in my mind, how I construct these collages. They're mirroring the expansiveness of the internet and the capabilities by which one can engage so much diverse material simultaneously. And the wallpaper is anchored in relationship to ceramic sculptures that look like fossilized objects of contemporary life that also have reflected images on the surfaces of them. And the relationship between these images on the wall and the images wrapped on the sculptures is a kind of capture of the digital space in a physical, three-dimensional collage. As you walk through the exhibition, I hope you take away a few ideas that all Black Lives Matter and that we need to defund the police and create different infrastructures within this problematic environment in which we live in called the United States of America. And if you are a Black viewer in this exhibition, you find space for joy, memorial, and meaning for our existence in this complex, contemporary, colonial environment in which we're living.
Beautiful, thank you. Since we are having a new kind of audio occurrence, I'm going to take the reins for the second read through, and I'll just read through the text. The goal is to, at the end of my recitation, to have 5 fragments that you will have at the end of your line, and you'll fill in that line. We'll be working very quickly. Just a taste here. My name is Kahlil Robert Irving. You are standing in my installation of large-scale wallpaper imagery contextualizing ceramic sculptures. The works traverse the digital landscape, the metaphorical landscape, and contemporary issues affecting many different communities, but the specific experiences that I am referring to in my work range from my time living in St. Louis, Missouri, and New York City. One of my earliest memories is with my mother in our old Cadillac car, driving and listening to the radio. And with my father, I remember on the weekends cleaning the windows, And with my father, I remember on the weekends cleaning with the windows open, with incense burning and music playing through the radio. Those experiences of hearing that music creates the architecture in my mind of how I construct these collages. They're mirroring the expansiveness of the internet and the capabilities by which one can engage so much diverse material simultaneously. The wallpaper is anchored in relationship to ceramic sculptures that look like fossilized objects of contemporary life, that have also reflected images on the surfaces of them. And the relationship between these images on the wall and the images wrapped on the sculptures is a kind of capture of the digital space and a physical 3-dimensional collage. As you walk through the exhibition, I hope you take away a few ideas. That all Black lives matter, and that we need to defund the police and create different infrastructures within this problematic environment which we live in, called the United States of America. And if you are a Black viewer in this exhibition, I hope you find space for joy, memorial, and meaning for our existence in this complex, contemporary, colonial environment in which we're living. So looking at your list, let's move very, 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 very quickly. Think about a way to what is one word or 2 words that can be a bridge between each of the 5 words that you have there. Okay, we'll take 2 little minutes for that. And we hope that you're excited by this little preview into an exercise that you can do at greater scale. So we'll have 2 minutes to make bridges between the 5 fragments that you heard. Beautiful. I'm seeing them coming into the chat. I love this. Problematic and colonial, fossilized objects of contemporary life. Think about the structure that we saw, where there's a list at the end of the line. Colonial sculpture.
I walk anchored In memories, the architecture of my mind in complex with space of joy, meaning, memorial.
Amazing. Beautiful work, Anne.
People's
Contextualizing internet wallpaper.
incense, a plea to you, the visitor.
My mother's wallpaper traces the windows. Come on, Charlie. Yes, yes. Metaphorical communities. Beautiful. So what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing your thinking, right? I'm not seeing what you've written, but I am seeing the way you're thinking about the relationship between the words that you chose and remixing them, right? I'm also seeing you start to be in conversation with Kahlil's language, adding your own language, changing his meaning, amplifying his meaning. This is exactly the beauty of this exercise. And the more I read, the more times I read through Terrence Hayes's poem, The Golden Shovel, the more, the more I see, I see structural relationship. I see Gwendolyn's poem, Hugging the Outside, so beautiful, if it was even just that, and the poem was about something else. But on subsequent readings, I see the depth of which Hayes is in communication across time and space about the same themes. And Hayes has written a poem of many, many lines that's like expanding and championing, I think, what Gwendolyn Brooks wrote almost 60 years prior, roughly 50 years prior, 45, in such a short space. Yeah, really, really so inspired by that collaboration over time and space.
I was going to read another one.
Please.
We cover ourselves with wallpaper to dream, traverse, a radio signal from the other room, someone else's expansiveness, a shared wall together despite the problematic. Together despite the problematic.
I love that. I love that.
Let's see. Create our landscape, join our communities, celebrate our experiences, and create expansiveness.
Yes. Wow, y'all really got it. You really, really got it. I see, where was this? I see, oh gosh, I lost it in the chat. Traversing metaphysical landscape, windows open, incense burning, expansiveness of the internet, images on the wall, existence in colonial environment.
Let's see. Here standing, waiting to traverse, built up by expansiveness, everything a construct, everything is.
Everything. I love that. I love the, I love the lack of concern about conventional expression there. It's working. It's working. Mara, yes, beautiful. I also love how the slashes feel like they're kind of cuts or abutments, like a graphic little section might next to another one. Excellent work, everybody. Excellent work, everybody.
Let's see. I was going to read one more.
Please.
We try to walk with joy. Unending memories push us to extreme experiences, building the fullness of meaning with every step of existence. Wow. And it's cool to see the words or the themes that resonate with people through Kahlil's words, yeah, that are coming up again and again, that make that connect, like people make that connection. It's pretty cool.
Did you say that again? I'm sorry, I missed it.
I'm sorry. I was thinking about words that are coming up within the chat that people have used in their poetry.
Mm-hmm.
That connection to Kahlil, and then connection to words that resonate with people that are repeating themselves, you know, that interconnectedness with things that people can relate to, you know, that you would think it would be random, but it's not, you know, it's like,
yeah,
everything is everything.
That's what they said. Yep, that's right. I'm feeling really full. I really love this. Yeah, it's really, I would love to invite all the participants in the chat to start to think about what resonated with you from what you saw today, what you made today, and what you experienced today. And maybe CJ and I can start. What I'm really filled with right now is I did not anticipate how wonderful it would be to see the waves of understanding, the waves of communication successfully coming through, to see you all thinking, really seeing the growth of perception in the close looking and the range of your collage works in this middle, and then your early attempts to follow the writing prompt and how people got bolder and bolder and bolder, and just really took the time to let themselves be in communication. So really, that was very special for me. Very special for me.
I was thinking, I guess just with the slow build part, where, well, not slow read, or just the creation of poetry, and how, kind of going back to my thought before, was that there are ideas that are words that resonate with people, and how they kind of make us connected, and then we get to hear it again. So it's just about I guess connectedness again is what I'm leaving with, or what I'm feeling that happened here today, was that, you know, people were able to connect with building the art and building the collage, and then connect with building their words. So I think that's what's resonating with me.
Love that. And I see in the chat, Deborah Erickson made a note of a chance for community, inspiration and community from Susan Swersley. I want to pass the mic to Dawn and Hannah in just a moment, but just to thank you all so much for really giving yourselves over to this experiment, and for sharing so generously. This is a really beautiful document we have here.
Yeah, this was a great experience, and everyone was really invested and focused. You could look up and people creating their art and creating their words. So yeah, an opportunity for joy in the making, you know, in the joy in creating. That has been, I feel like, what I'm getting from this as a community, that we were able to create and make.
But love it. Thank you so much for doing this with me, CJ.
And thank you. I really enjoyed it. And Hannah and Dayon and Adelia, and I'm like, I don't want to leave any, Melania. It's just been a really good experience. And then of course we have to thank Kahlil because
Kahlil.
without this, this wouldn't happen without him creating this work, which is just layers and layers of interesting things to talk about and look at again.
Really, really is about the layers. Beautiful.
Ooh, okay, I'm jumping in. I honestly holding back tears, and they're not even held back at this point. I'm just so grateful for, you know, as the world reopens, y'all, we still need to find these ways of gathering, and it's incredible that so many of you tuned in tonight from literally all over the world. And this was definitely a program that we created with love and immense excitement and enthusiasm, and grateful that CJ and Adjua agreed to be on this journey with us. I'm just gonna read one more poem that maybe it got read, but maybe it didn't, but create our landscape, join our communities, celebrate our experiences, and create expansiveness. Yeah. So I want to just thank you all again for this evening. We do have one additional digital program in support of projects Kahlil Robert Irving, taking place on Tuesday, April 26th, between Kahlil, the poet Simone White, and scholar Andre Brock. So there is a through line between both these programs. And we're hoping to share a few of your poems and collages at the start of that program. So please feel free to drop them into the chat, add them to the Google document, or email them to us afterwards. More information on the program can be found on MoMA and Studio's websites. And I pass it to Hannah to officially close us out.
Thank you all so much. I just want to say a final thank you to Adjua and CJ for all of the care and thoughtfulness and love you put into tonight's program. It was truly an incredible adventure to be alongside of both of you. Thank you obviously to Kahlil Robert Irving for the work that inspired this session, and a huge thank you to all the staff that made this program possible. The MoMA AV team, Jeff and Hunter, the curatorial team of Thelma Golden and Legacy Russell, the project series curator, Thomas Lax and Linka Tattersall, and our incredible public programs colleagues who we could have not done this without, Adelia Gregory, Tennille Mack, and Melania Graham. We'll send you an email with resources and links related to today's program, and you'll also receive a survey to share your thoughts. If it's accessible to you, we invite you to please come visit MoMA and see this exhibition. Info about how to reserve free timed tickets to visit MoMA will be in that follow-up email. And now we invite you to say goodbye in a collective way. In a moment, we'll invite you all to unmute, say goodbye, and we'll play some music to close us out. So thank you all once again. Such a pleasure to be with you.